What if I told you that motivation is actually holding you back? That waiting for inspiration or the right moment is the reason you are not achieving your goals, while building consistency is the true path to achieving lasting success. The ancient Stoics understood something profound about human nature that modern self-help often misses. True power lies not in fleeting motivation, but in unwavering consistency. Today we are going to reveal how to harness this power using timeless Stoic principles that have guided emperors, philosophers, and successful individuals for over 2,000 years. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear roadmap to stay consistent every single day, no matter how you feel or what life throws at you. And if you stay with me until the end, I'll share a powerful ancient parable that perfectly captures this philosophy. Let's start with a hard truth. Motivation is unreliable. It's like a fair-weather friend who disappears exactly when you need them most. You feel motivated when things are going well. But what about when life gets tough? When you're tired, stressed, or facing setbacks? This is where most people fail, waiting for that spark of motivation that never comes. Think about it. How many times have you started something with excitement, only to abandon it when the initial enthusiasm wore off? Maybe it was a fitness routine, a new project, or a personal goal. You told yourself, I'll get back to it when I feel ready. But that day never came. It's the classic January gym phenomenon, packed in the first week of the year, half empty by February, and back to normal by March. Not because people don't want results, but because they relied on a feeling rather than a system. The Stoics understood this flaw in human nature. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote in his Meditations, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for? Or is this what I was created for, to huddle under the blankets and stay warm?" He didn't rely on motivation to rule an empire. He relied on discipline and a sense of duty. Imagine the pressures he faced: military threats, political intrigue, personal loss, even a devastating plague. He couldn't afford to wait until he felt like addressing a crisis. The Stoics knew that waiting for motivation is like waiting for the wind to blow in your favor when you have oars in your boat. Instead, they focused on building habits and principles that carried them through, regardless of how they felt. Motivation is fleeting. It's like a spark. It can ignite a fire, but it can't sustain it. What you need is something stronger, something more reliable: consistency. Think of motivation as the match and consistency as the steady supply of oxygen that keeps the flame burning. The Stoic approach to consistency is built on three timeless principles. The first is to control what you can control. Epictetus, a former slave turned Stoic philosopher, taught that life is divided into two categories: things within our control and things outside of it. He said, "Some things are within our power, while others are not. Within our power are opinion, motivation, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever is of our own doing. Not within our power are our body, our property, reputation, office, and, in a word, whatever is not of our own doing." You can't control whether you feel motivated. You can't control external events like the weather, other people's opinions, or unexpected challenges. But you can control your actions, your effort, and your mindset. This distinction is revolutionary when applied to consistency. For example, let's say you're trying to build a habit of exercising every morning. One day you wake up feeling tired and it's raining outside. Motivation would tell you, skip it today, you'll do it tomorrow. But the Stoic mindset says, I can't control the weather or how I feel, but I can control whether I show up. Even if that means doing a shorter workout or modifying your routine, showing up maintains consistency. Once a marathon runner said his secret to success wasn't extraordinary willpower. It was deciding that weather was never a valid reason to skip training. Rain, snow, heat. These were just conditions to adapt to, not excuses to stop. His consistency made him exceptional, not occasional bursts of motivation. The second principle is to focus on the process, not the outcome. The Stoics emphasize focusing on the action itself, not its results. This is a game changer for consistency. When you're working toward a goal, don't obsess over the end result. Instead, concentrate on showing up and doing the work, regardless of how you feel. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do what nature demands. Get straight to the point. Do not waste time." For example, if you're writing a book, don't stress about finishing the entire manuscript. Focus on writing one page today. If you're learning a new skill, don't worry about mastering it overnight. Focus on practicing for 30 minutes. If you're building a business, focus on completing today's most important task, not on how far away your revenue goals seem. The Stoics had a concept called preferred indifference. Things like success, recognition, and achievement are preferred, naturally desirable, but ultimately indifferent to your virtue and inner peace because they're not entirely in your control. What is in your control is your effort, your intention, and your adherence to the process. The third principle is to embrace discomfort as part of the journey. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." He also wrote, "Difficulty strengthens the mind, as labor does the body." Discomfort is not a sign that you're failing, it's a sign that you're growing. The Stoics believed that adversity is an opportunity to build resilience. When you embrace discomfort, you stop seeing it as an obstacle and start seeing it as a necessary part of the process. Modern neuroscience confirms this Stoic insight. When we push through challenges, when we practice at the edge of our ability, we trigger neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new neural connections and strengthen existing ones. Growth happens precisely at the point where things get uncomfortable. The Stoics even practiced voluntary discomfort, intentionally exposing themselves to hardship to build resilience. Seneca, despite being wealthy, would periodically practice poverty by eating simple food and sleeping on a hard mat. This wasn't self-punishment. It was training their minds to be unfazed by discomfort, making daily challenges easier to overcome. Now that we've covered the philosophy, let's get practical. Here are actionable steps to build consistency the Stoic way. First, start your day with a morning reflection. The Stoics believed in starting each day with intention. Marcus Aurelius would reflect on the challenges he might face and prepare his mind to handle them with grace. Each morning, take a few minutes to ask yourself, what are the most important tasks I need to accomplish today? What challenges might I face and how will I respond to them? How can I act in alignment with my values today? This simple practice sets the tone for your day and helps you stay focused on what truly matters. This doesn't require an elaborate ritual. Even 5 minutes is enough. You might write in a journal, meditate quietly, or simply contemplate these questions while having your morning coffee. The key is making it a non-negotiable part of your day. As Epictetus advised, every day and night keep thoughts like these at hand. Write them, read them aloud, talk to yourself and others about them. Second, use the dichotomy of control. Before starting any task, identify what's in your control, your actions, effort, and preparation, and what's not, like outcomes, others' opinions, or external circumstances. This mental filtering system saves tremendous energy by focusing you on what matters. For example, if you're preparing for a presentation, focus on practicing and refining your delivery. Don't waste energy worrying about how others will react. That's outside your control. If you're creating content, focus on producing your best work, not on predicting algorithms or audience response. The dichotomy of control isn't just for planning, it's a real-time mental tool for challenging moments. When you feel frustrated, overwhelmed, or tempted to abandon your commitment, pause and ask, what elements of this situation can I control right now? Then direct all your energy there. Third, track your progress, not your feelings. Keep a daily log of your actions. Write down what you did, not how you felt. This shifts your focus from emotional states to measurable progress. For example, instead of writing, "I didn't feel like working out today," write, "I completed a 20-minute workout." Instead of "I wasn't inspired to write," record, "I wrote 500 words." Over time, this habit reinforces the idea that consistency is about action, not emotion. A physical record creates what psychologists call a commitment device, an external tool that increases your likelihood of following through. The simple act of marking an X on a calendar or checking a box in a habit tracker creates a visual chain you won't want to break. Jerry Seinfeld famously used this "don't break the chain" method to write jokes daily, and it works for any consistent practice. Consider adding an evening review to complement your morning reflection. Briefly note what went well, where you struggled, and what you learned. This creates a feedback loop for continual improvement. As Epictetus suggested, let sleep not come upon thy languid eyes before each daily action has been reviewed. Even with the best intentions, we all face obstacles. Here's how the Stoics would tackle them. First, fear of failure. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Failure is not the end, it's a teacher. Every setback is an opportunity to learn and grow. Instead of fearing failure, embrace it as part of the process. The Stoics practiced premeditation of evils, premeditatio malorum, mentally rehearsing potential setbacks not out of pessimism, but to reduce their emotional impact if they occurred, and to prepare contingency plans. Consider this. James Dyson created 5,026 failed prototypes before inventing his revolutionary vacuum. Thomas Edison made thousands of unsuccessful attempts before creating a working light bulb. They didn't see these as failures, but as essential steps in the process of discovery. As Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Second, procrastination. Procrastination is often rooted in perfectionism or fear. The Stoics would say, just start. Don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect plan. Take the first step, no matter how small. A helpful tactic is the 5-minute rule. Commit to just 5 minutes of the task. This overcomes the initial resistance, and once started, you'll often continue. The Stoics understood that momentum follows action, not the other way around. As Seneca advised, begin at once, for thus you will not be putting off your philosophy until tomorrow. Begin, moreover, to guide your life by reason. Third, external distractions. The Stoics believed in cultivating an inner citadel, a mental fortress that protects you from external chaos. When distractions arise, remind yourself of your purpose and return to the task at hand. In our hyper-connected world, distractions have multiplied exponentially. The average person checks their phone 96 times daily, about once every 10 minutes. Creating dedicated distraction-free blocks for deep work is essential for consistency. This might mean physically removing your phone from your workspace, using apps that block distracting websites, or setting clear boundaries with others about your focused time. Epictetus advised, if you wish to improve, be content to appear clueless or stupid in extraneous matters. In modern terms, be willing to miss out on social media trends, news cycles, or office gossip if they interfere with your consistency in what truly matters. It's crucial to understand that consistency isn't built through monumental, heroic efforts. It's forged in the crucible of small, daily actions that compound over time. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, taught that virtue is built through daily practice. Think of it like water carving stone. A single drop has no discernible effect, but the persistent, consistent dripping over years can wear away even the hardest rock. Similarly, writing just 200 words a day might feel trivial, but in a year you've written over 70,000 words, a complete book. Saving $5 a day seems insignificant, but consistently applied over time, it amounts to nearly $2,000 annually, plus potential growth. Meditating for only 5 minutes daily builds a mindfulness foundation that deepens over months and years. This compounding effect works not just on external results, but also on your internal identity. Each time you choose action over inaction, discipline over fleeting desire, you cast a vote for the kind of person you want to become. Consistently showing up for your workout reinforces, I am the kind of person who honors commitments to my health. Consistently choosing deep work over distraction reinforces, I am the kind of person who values focus and produces meaningful work. Consistency literally shapes who you are at a fundamental level. This identity-based consistency is more powerful than goal-based motivation. When your actions align with who you want to be, rather than just what you want to achieve, consistency becomes easier. As Epictetus put it, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. The Stoics understood that consistency is a long game. It's not about quick wins, it's about sustained effort over time. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This concept, known as memento mori, remember you will die, reminds us to make the most of our time. Don't waste it waiting for motivation. Act now. If time is limited, why waste it waiting for motivation? Why postpone acting on your values? Memento mori urges us to make the most of the present moment, the only time we truly have. It encourages us to prioritize what contributes to a virtuous and fulfilling life, rather than scattering our energy on fleeting distractions. The Stoics also recognize we are social creatures. Finding a community, whether friends with shared goals, a mastermind group, or an online community like this YouTube channel, can provide invaluable support, accountability, and encouragement. Sharing your commitments and progress makes the journey less solitary and more sustainable. Consider finding an accountability partner or mentor who embodies the consistency you aspire to develop. Seneca emphasized the importance of role models. We need to set our affections on some good man and keep him constantly before our eyes, so that we may live as if he were watching us and do everything as if he saw what we were doing. In modern terms, surrounding yourself with consistent people raises your own standards. Another powerful Stoic practice for consistency is acting according to nature. For the Stoics, this meant aligning your actions with reason and virtue rather than fleeting emotions. But we can also interpret this as respecting your own nature and natural rhythms. This doesn't contradict consistency, it enhances it. For instance, if you're naturally more energetic in the morning, schedule your most demanding work then. If you know you need 7 hours of sleep to function well, prioritize that consistently rather than burning yourself out with inconsistent sleep patterns. Sustainable consistency requires working with your nature, not against it. So let's bring it all together. Consistency isn't about possessing superhuman willpower or never feeling tired. It's about building a system grounded in timeless Stoic principles. It's about understanding that motivation is optional, a fleeting bonus if it happens to show up, but utterly unnecessary for taking action. It's about focusing on what you can control, your choices, your effort, your responses. It's about falling in love with the process rather than obsessing over unpredictable outcomes. It's about embracing discomfort as an integral part of growth. It's about the compounding power of small, daily actions, shaping both your results and your identity. Consistency isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about getting back up when you stumble, learning the lesson, and taking the next step. The Stoics teach us that true transformation happens not in moments of inspiration, but in the quiet, often unglamorous dedication to daily practice. It's forged in the commitment you make to yourself when no one is watching. As Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. In other words, be willing to seem ordinary or even boring in your daily habits, knowing that extraordinary results come from ordinary consistency. Before you go, take a moment to reflect. What one small, controllable action can you commit to doing consistently, starting today, regardless of how you feel? It doesn't have to be huge. Maybe it's 5 minutes of meditation, writing 1 paragraph, doing 10 push-ups, or reading 2 pages of a challenging book. Choose something achievable but meaningful. Now, before you go, let me share a simple story you might remember from childhood. A story that perfectly captures why consistency always outpaces motivation. It's the parable of the tortoise and the hare. Once upon a time, there was a speedy hare who loved to brag about how fast he could run. He would boast to anyone who would listen, certain that no one could ever beat him. One day, a slow and steady tortoise grew tired of the hare's boasting and challenged him to a race. The hare laughed at the idea, thinking it was a joke, but he agreed. When the race began, the hare shot off the starting line and quickly left the tortoise far behind. Confident that victory was certain, the hare decided to take a nap halfway through the race. Meanwhile, the tortoise kept moving, slowly, steadily, never stopping, never losing focus. While the hare slept, the tortoise passed him by and, step by step, made his way to the finish line. By the time the hare finally woke up and dashed to the end, he was shocked to find that the tortoise had already crossed the finish line and won the race. It wasn't speed or bursts of energy that won the race, but the tortoise's unwavering consistency. The tortoise didn't rely on motivation or excitement. He simply kept going, step by step, every day. And in the end, that steady persistence made all the difference. Thank you for investing your time today. Until next time, carry this thought with you. Motivation is optional. Consistency is mandatory. Go act accordingly.